Well, welcome back everybody. Sorry I've been away for a while. I've been busy working with my sewing machine, making some masks for the hospitals, nurses, and doctors. So now I have a chance to sit down and make a video for you guys. So today's class, we're actually going to do a restorative yoga class. And we're going to be doing about 5 different poses. And for today's class, you're going to need at least 3 blankets, a yoga belt, preferably a long one if you have it. If not, you could use a necktie or just use a 6-foot belt. 2 yoga blocks. You're going to use some sort of eye wrap, either a little eye pillow, or you could also use like an ace bandage type of thing and just fold it in half to cover your eyes. And also a sandbag if you have one. If not, not a big deal. You could use something heavy like some heavy books you have laying around the house. You'll just need an extra blanket for padding, but I'll explain everything as we go along. Okay, so we're going to jump right in. So for the first pose we're going to do today is Supta Baddha Konasana. So you're going to need 2 of your blankets. Unless of course you have a bolster at home. Open up your blankets like so. 1 blanket, and then 2 blankets. And the blanket folding I went through in the first video. So, pull up. Have here, blanket for the head, and your yoga belt. Now, the yoga belt, how we're going to do this today is you're going to open up the yoga belt, whether it's long or short. We're going to do the simplified version, which makes it much easier. So first, sitting with your back, have your eye covering handy. Now here, you want to make sure that you have that distance between you and the bolster. You don't want to be right against it. There should be at least a block's width behind you. And now feet on the floor. Have the center of your belt over the top of your feet. And now pull the belt back towards the bolster. As you lay back, lift your chest, coil the tailbone towards your heels so your abdomen moves in. And then slowly lower yourself down nice and centered on the bolster. Pull the 3rd blanket to the top of the shoulders for your head. So now make sure that you're centered on the bolster, because otherwise you're going to roll off from side to side. So make sure you're nice and centered on the bolster. Bring the feet in just a smidge bit closer. And now lift the buttock up, pull the belt underneath the buttock, and sit right on top of it. And now let the feet turn towards each other, knees out to the side. And now here's where you're going to need your head covering. Just place the little eye pillow right over the eyes. So it should cover just the tip of the nose and the eyebrows. So there's very little weight on the eyes because you don't want to injure the eyes themselves. And then take the arms out to the sides. Let the knees release down. Now, especially with your shoulders, roll the inner arms up, outer arms down. So you feel the sides of your chest open on up. Open armpit chest. Palms must face up. Relax your fingers. Now the arms aren't exactly in line with the shoulders. They're slightly between the shoulder height and the hip height. So let's think of an image of your pinky finger being in line with your waist. So if you draw a line from one pinky finger through the navel to the other pinky finger, that's where the arms should be. Not too high, not too low. And now from here, let the knees release down. If this is too much, you can definitely put a block underneath the knees. So I'm just going to come up for 1 second so you see the block should go underneath the knee. So this way you can get that gentle release in the inner groins. And then once you're here, if you need that support, make your adjustments. And now just let a nice exhalation out, slow and smooth. It's important to keep the soles of the feet together. So you have that center line of the spine. Imagine the spine going from the head all the way down to the tailbone and then straight between the bottom of your 2 feet. So the soles of your feet where they join should follow that straight spinal line. You know, let your abdomen just recede downward. Let your gaze behind the closed eyelids go down towards the heart, allowing the brain to quiet. And as you gaze down behind closed eyelids towards the heart, bring the inhalation up towards the heart. So allow the breath to climb up the spine towards the heart, and then slowly exhale back down the spine. Now start to allow your inhalations to deepen. Gently invite movement back into your fingertips. And then taking your hands down towards your legs and on the outer edges of your thighs, you're going to inhale, lift the legs towards each other so your feet are flat on the floor. Knees together. And then on inhalation, press into your feet, lift your hips up just enough to release the belt from out underneath you. And then go ahead, slowly extend your legs one at a time. And then slowly exhale, bend your legs once again. Feet on the floor. Cross your left arm over your chest and roll all the way over onto your right side. Then as you roll towards the floor, press your left palm down to slowly lift yourself on up. And face forward. Okay. So the second pose we're going to do today is a modified version of Anastasia, which is known as Vishnu's couch. And Vishnu was is a Hindu god who would actually sleep on a giant cobra. So hence Anastasia, the cobra. And to do this, you're just going to take your bolster and you're going to turn it horizontally to face you. Now that third blanket you have, you could put just above that rolled blanket, and then make sure you have a block, sorry. Everything else you can move off to the sides. So I want you to watch here first. Make sure that the fringe also is on the bottom. Okay? So as I sit facing you, I'm going to have my knees pointing straight forward. Now your right thigh is going to be against the whole bolster from the hip to the knee. It's important to keep this leg bent. Okay? This block should be just in line with your hips. Now as I press my hands into here, I want to lift the whole right side of my body up because I want to get the bolster to fit in the side of my waist here. So as I lift up, now I'm going to coil over and then take my hand alongside the bolster. So knee, leg, arm, and then you're going to lay your head down. If this is too low, you could definitely play with your blanket to get the height just right. So notice how I'm on my hip and my shoulder, my leg and my arm are straight and parallel to the whole bolster. Okay? So play around with the head height if you need. Now, what you want to do first is take your arm alongside your body. You want to make sure that the shoulder and the hip are in a straight line. And then as I extend this leg out, I feel the block here, and then you may have to push the block a little bit away, but now I want my foot to end up on the block. My leg here has to roll inward, so roll this thigh in, roll this hip forward, so as the thigh rolls in, the hip rolls forward. Same thing in Konasana, which we've done before in other videos. Okay, make sure this hip rolls towards your bent knee. Roll the shoulders slightly back, and then be here for a moment. You want to make sure that you're, like I said, you want to have the hip and the shoulder on the floor and facing the ceiling. And then if everything feels good, you take the hands in front. And then, when your body allows it, you're going to take the arm over your head. Now for those with shoulder problems, this may be troublesome, so definitely have another block here and then place your hand on top of the block. Okay? And then here you are. So now as I extend through my left leg and reach away with my left arm, the whole left side of my body is going to stretch. So now you have to breathe into the side ribs, let the waist lengthen, but keep rolling that inner left thigh back. Make sure your left big toe is touching the block. And don't dig your chin into your chest. Keep your head. Think of the bottom of your chin here being parallel with the bolster that's underneath your waist. So as you inhale into the sides of the ribs, keep remembering to roll that inner left thigh back. Now to come out, take your left arm, cross it in front of your chest. And then on an exhale, bend your left leg, stack it on top of your right leg. Rest in the fetal position. And now as you roll more towards the floor, now use your left hand. Once again, press into the floor to slowly lift yourself on up, but let your head come up last. Now to do the second side, all you're going to do is turn around and do the same exact thing. So now I'm going to have my back to you, or you can still listen to my voice. So now as we have your left leg against the bolster, so with the whole left leg, you're going to lift the left side of the torso up and arc over the bolster, so now your left hip and your left shoulder are on the floor. So it's filling in your waist. Your left leg is following the bolster, and your left arm is also following the bolster. They're both parallel. Your right hand can come to your hip. So now you have to get the shoulder and the hip to both stay upward. So have a pinpoint facing the ceiling. Adjust your head support. Make sure your chin is not digging into your chest. And then slowly extend your right leg and place it on top of the block. Of course, I move my block, and that's a little too far. So now as I keep rolling the right thigh in, make sure the top right hip comes forward. The left thigh and the left arm are both following that bolster. So once you feel like you're even and everything is situated, now take your right hand in front of your chest and then slowly start to take the arm over the head. So now as you extend outward through the upper right leg, reach away with your right arm. So the whole side of the torso gets very, very long. So support to keep your mind somewhat alert, your consciousness alert. So make sure to roll that inner right thigh back. Lengthen the whole right side of the body by keeping the foot pressed into the block, moving slightly away, and the arm away. So you definitely want to feel the right ribs, the right side ribs opening on up. And bringing your breath into that space. Now to come out, slowly take your right hand, cross it in front of your chest. On your next exhale, bend your right leg and rest it on top of your bottom left leg. And then you come on out. On your exhale, roll towards the floor and press your right palm into the floor. Just slowly come on up, letting your head come up last. Okay. All right, so now for the third pose we're going to do is a prone twist, meaning face down. So for this one, you're going to take that pillow you have for your blanket, your blanket you have for your pillow, and you're going to turn your bolster the first way, one way first. Okay? Now, this one you're going to put here for your head, just like you did when you first did the first pose, Supta Baddha Konasana. But now here's the slight variation. We're going to face forward like you did in the pose we just did, Anastasia. The only difference here now is that the bolster has to be slightly away, okay, just a little bit. Now I'm going to keep both of my legs bent, okay, for now. Because what I want to do is I want to turn towards the bolster, okay? You're going to turn towards the bolster. First, you want to just do that. You want to think of turning your abdomen. Your knees are going one direction, but your abdomen is going to turn towards the bolster. Now, to help stabilize ourselves, this right knee, you're going to extend your leg. So now as you start to turn, the little toe comes down. So the leg is going to roll out as you roll onto the hip, okay? Now as I roll onto my hip, this leg's still going to stay bent. You roll into the outer right leg, and now I have to push this slightly away. Be here for a second. So now you're facing the bolster. Use your left hand to turn the abdomen to the floor. So as the leg turns, so does the abdomen. And now you're going to slowly lower yourself down, center your chest in the bolster. And then turn your head first to look at your foot. And be here. So as you're laying on the whole outer right side of the leg, your navel's turning towards your outer right hip. Your left ribs are coming down, your right ribs are going slightly back towards the ceiling, upward. Now, what I want to stress is that the arms here, you're not pushing down. See how that jams my shoulders? Let the elbows go out. Relax the shoulders. Okay? And now just be. So once again, keep your chin out of your chest. Think of the bottom of your chin being parallel to your straight right leg. So the idea is not to let your chest shrink. So the idea here is also to let your chest, if I push up a little bit, I want to lengthen my chest away from my leg and then come down a little bit more. So I get more extension. So let the shoulders release down, especially the left armpit. Let the left armpit come towards the floor as your right armpit is going towards the ceiling a little bit more. You'll see how that turns your trunk. But it has to start with the navel. And then after a few minutes, if your neck will allow you to, I want you to inhale, lift yourself up a little bit. And then turn your head so now you're resting on your left ear. But if your neck protests, don't do it. It has to be a very gentle maneuver. And then on an inhale, press down, turn your head back. So now you're resting on your right ear again. Now draw your hands back so your fingertips are underneath your shoulders. And on an inhalation, press down, keep lifting up straight, turn your head down to the bolster, and then once you keep lifting up, allow your outer right hip to come down before you upright, and then sweep your leg out. Okay? All right. For the second side, I think so we're all facing the same direction. You're going to take your bolster and turn it over to your left hip. Okay. So now same thing. A little bit of a gap here, okay? You keep your left leg bent. I'm sorry, keep left leg straight, but bend your right leg. So now there has to be a gap in here, gap. Okay, so now as you start to turn your abdomen, use your right hand to turn the abdomen towards the bolster. And as you do that, roll to the outer left leg. Turn and roll. Turn and roll. So now make sure the bolster is a little bit away so your abdomen has space to turn. So use your right leg as balance and leverage on the whole outer left leg. Now as you turn the navel, square your chest to the center of the bolster, sternum chest in line with the bolster, come down and rest your left ear on the bolster first. So take your while to situate yourself. You may have to turn a little bit more. But once you feel like everything's good, then rest again. You should feel the chest slightly open, so don't press your arms too much to jam your shoulders. You don't want to create tension in the neck. The spine and the neck should be long. Your lower back should feel open here. So with the leg straight and the other leg bent, your tailbone is going to follow your straight leg. Get your tailbone to go towards your left heel. Keep making little adjustments to lengthen the trunk. Turn more towards the bolster. So feel the twist start from the abdomen. The abdomen is turning towards the floor. Your side right ribs are going towards the floor. Your side left ribs are going towards the ceiling. Your sternum chest is lining up towards the blanket. Your chin is not digging into your chest. And then when it allows, you can press your arms down, turn your head to the right ear. Which deepens the twist. So now to come on up, bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Turn your head to rest back on your left ear. And on an inhalation, as you press down, inhale, lift the torso away from the bolster. And then as your right hip touches down, then you can turn your whole waist and chest forward and then slowly work the right leg in front. Okay, take a minute to breathe. Okay. The next pose we're going to do is a passive back bend. Now for this one, you're going to need 2, possibly 3 blankets. And I'll explain why. One blanket, you're going to make a small roll for your neck. Okay? So we have that kid-shaped blanket. From that nice rolled edge, you're going to roll it up a bit. Okay? Maybe halfway, maybe less. The fringe has to go away from you. Okay? Now, with the other 3 blankets. With the second blanket, you do the same exact thing, but the fringe is going to go in the opposite direction. Okay, so now you're going to roll it up. This one you're also going to play with. I personally like to make it a little high, but you'll see why. You may have to change that a bit. And the last blanket, you're going to roll up all the way. Okay? So this is going to be your knee blanket. This is going to be your upper back blanket, your head blanket for your neck. Now, the head blanket, your head has to lay on this part. So the fringe has to go away from the other 2 blankets. This blanket here, the middle blanket, which is for your upper chest, the fringe is going to go in the opposite direction, okay? Head blanket one way, middle blanket, fringe the other way. This one doesn't matter. Watch first as I come in. This part is very important. So my legs are going to be over this bolster here, okay? Now, if you do experience back pain, you can keep your feet on the floor, okay? So this way your back doesn't arch as much. So here, now watch as I do this. I'm going to scoot myself towards this bolster because I have to get my elbow on this roll as I come down. Okay, so I'm here. Elbows are on the roll. Now I can tuck my tailbone towards this roll, away from my elbows. So now my lower back opens on up. That's a very important part. I may have to kick this down just a little bit more. But now watch with my elbows. Attention to the elbows. So now my elbows are right underneath my shoulders. So now as I let the elbows go out to the side, can you see how this blanket is right in my armpit? Right in the armpit. So it's not down here, it's not on the shoulders, okay? It's in the middle of the chest. So now that I'm here, I'm going to cup the back of my head so that my tailbone goes one direction, my head's going to go in the opposite direction. I'm going to use my hands to lengthen my head away from the chest blanket. And then if I have to, and if you need to, you're going to take that roll underneath here. Okay? So notice how my arms are going to fit in that little valley between the neck roll and the chest roll. So my arms are going to be out shoulder height. So here's where you have to make any adjustments. You may have to make this lower, you may have to make this higher. So you be the judge. You're going to take your time. Once I feel like that is all settled, now I keep my tailbone going away from my head side, and then I'm going to extend my legs so just the back of my knees are on that roll. And I rest here. If you need to, you can put your eye covering over your eyes. So now as you're here, you should feel your heels on the floor, unless your feet are flat on the floor. You should feel the back of your pelvis flat on the floor. Your tailbone is moving towards your heels. You should feel the armpit chest area here opening on up so that the shoulders can roll down to the valley of the two blankets. Palms face up. And now let the eyes recede away from the eyelids. Relax your jaw. Let the jaw unhinge and move towards your ears. It just so happens to be a rainy day here in New York. So imagine the surface of your body and the back of your body being soil. So as the front surface of your body absorbs the water, let it sort of just drain into your back body. Let the back body absorb the front body. Continue to take deeper inhalations. And soft, smooth exhalations. And then return to your natural breath. Slowly fold your arms over your abdomen. And then slowly bend your legs one at a time. And with your left arm, reach over with your left arm to roll onto your right side. And press your hand down into the floor to slowly lift yourself on up into a seated position. And once again, open your eyes. Okay, for the last pose we're going to do is Savasana, but the Savasana is going to have the legs slightly elevated. Okay? Now, if you do get cold, you can use one of your blankets for a bit of covering, but you're going to keep your neck roll. Make it smaller. Now, you're going to open up one blanket like so. What you're going to do here is you're going to make a trifold. So I'm going to do it from the side so you see much better. So when I lay it down, I fold it over in a third and then back again in a third. Okay? You're going to have that like so. And do the same thing with the second blanket because it has to be relatively high. Okay. And here's where the sandbag is going to come in handy. And your eye covering. Okay. I'm going to show you without the use of another blanket because the blanket's going to be there in case you get cold, just to throw over you. But here's how the setup is going to look. Okay? You're going to sit with this long trifold blanket facing away from you. This is for your neck roll here. Now, what you're going to do here is you're going to bring your legs on top of this bolster, this long trifold. It's going to be somewhere in the middle of the back of your thighs. Now, if you have a sandbag, great. If you don't, you could put some sort of cushioning over the top of your legs and then put something heavy on top of it like telephone book, dictionary, encyclopedia, thesaurus, whatever you have, okay? And now this is going to go right on top of the ankles to ground the legs down, okay? Have your eye pillow handy, and now when you lay down, you still have to tuck your tailbone towards your heels. Slowly lower yourself down. Move this blanket for your head. If you need to, pull the blanket on top of you. Have your eye pillow or bandage handy. Just cover your eyes. And now make sure let the legs release down. So the extra added weight feels quite nice here. Okay? Make sure your tailbone is going in that direction so the front hip bones here are going towards the chest. Arms out to the side. Roll the inner arms up, outer arms underneath you. And now Savasana. So with this Shavasana, the toes have to be pointing straight up. So unlike normal Shavasana with the little toe drops down, the weight on the legs, the thighs have to slightly roll in. So let the back thighs separate away from one another. Back pelvis on the floor, back chest on the floor, abdomen relaxed, and now relax your fingers. Let the back of your neck surrender into the blanket roll. Nice soft, smooth inhalations and soft, quiet exhalations. Letting your eyes recede away from the back of your eyelids. Let your jaw unhinge and let it move towards the ears. Tongue quietly resting inside the mouth. Now take a nice soft, smooth inhalation, a soft, quiet exhalation, and return to your natural breath. On your next inhale, slowly bring your arms towards your chest and fold your arms on top of your abdomen. Now, whether using a book or a sandbag, if it's a book, you can kind of just roll your legs over to the side so the book falls off. But a sandbag is soft, so you can just slowly slip one leg out so your foot's on the floor, on the blanket, sorry, and the other leg. Have your legs bent and your feet on top of the blanket pile. And then as you reach over with your left arm, roll over onto your right side. Your eye wrap will fall off. Just remain heavy on your right side. On your next exhalation, roll more towards the floor. Press your left palm down. Slowly push yourself up into a seated position. And facing the screen. And on exhalation, release the head down. And on inhalation, lift the chest and lift the head and draw the palms together in front of your heart. And as you inhale, ascend the heart, and as you exhale, bow the head. Saluting the essence of yoga, the light of yoga inside yourself. And on inhalation, lift your head, and keeping the eyes closed, just lower your gaze down to the floor in front of you. And slowly open your eyes and lift your gaze to look on up. Namaste. So just to be reminded of any future videos I post, please make sure to subscribe and also to like this video. And down below in the description, you'll also find a list of websites you can buy props from. I know Tools for Yoga is actually having a special on home practice kits. So make sure to visit them. Okay? And I'll see you soon. Namaste.